This is the story of an orphan boy who one day suddenly comes across a mysterious system. That system helps him grow stronger step by step until the time comes when he becomes the most powerful person in his entire world. The story begins with the boy, named Lin, as he celebrates his 18th birthday. On that day, he wishes to become a great cultivator. Just then, someone knocks at his door and all the lights in his house go out. Lin tries to use his spiritual eyes to see through the darkness, but he cannot make out anything. Suddenly, an old man enters through the window and tells him, "Lin, come with me." In the very next moment, both of them disappear. Lin finds himself with the old man in a strange place where humanity and immortality seem to merge. The old man explains that since Lin wished to become a powerful cultivator, he will give him a system and asks if Lin is willing to accept it. Curious, Lin asks what kind of system it is. The old man tells him it can be considered a cheat skill. Soon afterward, the god activates the war god system inside Lin, fusing it with him completely. Not long after, a scroll appears, and the god explains that this scroll will help Lin gain admission into Juxia Academy, the top-ranked spirit academy in their world. The god expects Lin to refuse the offer, but Lin replies that in his mortal world, he has nothing at all, so there's no reason to go back. Since the god is offering him power, he chooses to accept it. Still, Lin wonders why he was chosen specifically, but the god gives no answer and simply leaves with a smile. As soon as the god disappears, a glowing orb of spirit appears and introduces itself as Lin's guide. We also learn that no one but Lin can see this guide. Suddenly, the surrounding mana becomes unstable, and the guide explains that someone from another world might be trying to cross over but has become stuck due to an error. The guide tells Lin that he can save the person if he reaches out and absorbs the excess mana. Lin does so, pulling all the unstable mana into himself, and from within that energy, a girl suddenly emerges and falls right on top of him. Lin forgives her immediately, since she seems kind and beautiful to him. The girl apologizes and offers her hand to help him up. The moment Lin touches her hand, his outfit changes. The system had altered his clothing automatically. She then introduces herself as Lana. Lin tells her that he is from the mortal world and that his name is Lin. Hearing the words mortal world shocked Lana, but together they used the scroll to enter the academy. Inside, they witness a breathtaking scene, with people flying through the skies, others practicing magic, and even a massive mana meter on display. Lana explains that based on their magical power, students will be divided into classes, and with at least 10,000 students, they will be split into 100 different classes. Those with the greatest power and potential will be placed in Class 1. Lin remarks that, in that case, the chances of them being in the same class are slim. Lana reassures him, saying they might still end up together. Suddenly, the magical crystal began to glow a deep purple, and the words appeared, "Lower ninth class assigned to Class 1." Lin was stunned by her incredible power, admitting he never believed his own level could ever reach that high. At that moment, another teacher standing nearby spoke up, calling for the next contestant. His name was Sean, and he carried with him a recommendation letter. Very few people in this world ever received such letters, for they came directly from the gods themselves. Seeing this, Lin muttered in surprise, wondering aloud if it really was that rare, because he had one too. Then the scene shifted to Lana's face, her eyes fixed on Sean with an expression of awe. She explained that it was extremely rare for anyone to receive a true god recommendation letter, and that only extraordinary geniuses ever earned such recognition. Sean's test began, and it was revealed that he was already at the spirit god level. After him came Lana's turn, where she demonstrated her power as a ninth stage cultivator. The results secured her place in the prestigious first class. Smiling, she turned to Lin and said, "I've made it into the first class. Now I hope you'll join me there." Lin's heart grew heavy as his turn came. He was nervous, thinking that he had never cultivated a single day in his life. Stepping forward, he handed his recommendation scroll to the teacher, who opened it and gasped. The scroll was from Master Lu, a figure who had transcended even the realm of the gods. Lin was stunned, wondering if the old man who had brought him here was truly that powerful. But then a wave of doubt struck him. If his power turned out to be weak, wouldn't this only humiliate him further? One of the other teachers activated his spiritual eyes and studied Lin closely. After a long silence, he declared with certainty, "I believe you will achieve miracles, miracles that will shake the very foundations of the spiritual world." His words filled the hall, and the crowd, along with Lana, erupted in excitement. For the first time, Lin felt a flicker of confidence within himself. He placed his hand on the magical crystal, but when the results appeared, they showed a shocking 0. His power level was non-existent. The teacher clapped mockingly, remarking that not once in 100,000 years had anyone scored so poorly. She went on to say that everyone would now respect Lin, because surely no one could ever achieve a score lower than this. Despite the ridicule, Lin was still admitted to Class 1, only because of his divine recommendation. The crowd erupted in protest, declaring that Lin had no right to stand among them. One disciple stepped forward and challenged the decision, turning to Lin. "If you're going to be in Class 1, then you'll have to accept my challenge. Will you face me in a one-on-one battle?" Before Lin could even answer, Lena grabbed his arm and pulled him away, apologizing to the others as she carried him into the sky. Later, Lin sat alone, frustrated and lost in thought. He wondered how he could possibly deal with all the hatred aimed at him. Just then, his system activated, opening a panel full of quests. By completing these quests, Lin could level up. The very first task was simple, 10 push-ups. Lin completed them with ease, and immediately his strength increased tenfold compared to his initial state. He spent the rest of the night pushing himself, repeating push-ups until he reached level 3. But beyond that, the progress stalled. After all, how much could push-ups alone really achieve? Deciding he would ask Lena for advice, he left his house the next day. Yet as soon as he stepped outside, his haters ambushed him. Lin dodged a few strikes with the help of his spiritual eyes, but he was quickly overwhelmed. At that desperate moment, he activated a new ability, an incredible speed boost that allowed him to slip behind his enemy in an instant. Shocked by Lin's sudden power, the enemy grew wary. But determined to win, the attacker pulled out a talisman. The system immediately warned Lin that he could not withstand its power, urging him to evade at all costs. It recommended he use his Heavenly Gate technique, a risky move that could melt the talisman's energy. The enemy unleashed the talisman's devastating attack, and just as it was about to strike, the blow was blocked. Lana had arrived, intercepting the attack and saving Lin from certain defeat. But suddenly, Lana's focus slipped for just a moment, and the enemy took advantage, striking toward her with the talisman. Before it could hit her, Lin rushed in, activating his Heavenly Gate to block the attack. The clash sent a shockwave through the air, and the moment Lin stopped the strike, Lana retaliated with her sword, forcing the enemy back until he finally retreated. Exhausted, Lin collapsed to his knees, gasping that the Heavenly Gate must have left behind some painful side effects. Lena hurried to his side, worry filling her voice as she asked if he was in too much pain and suggested taking him to a doctor. But Lin shook his head, insisting he didn't need one, that he would recover after some time. Even so, seeing him struggle left her deeply upset. She felt as if she had failed to protect him. She confessed that the only reason she had joined the academy was to protect others, and she told herself that until the day Lin could stand on his own, she would be his shield. The commotion drew several teachers, and Lin braced himself for a scolding, but instead, one of them simply congratulated him before leaving. It was then that Lin realized he had already become an enemy to nearly everyone in the academy. The next scene placed Lin and Lena in their cultivation class. To Lin's astonishment, their first teacher was a tree. At first, he couldn't understand how a tree could possibly teach them, but Lena quietly explained that this was their teacher's spiritual form. Suddenly, the classroom fell silent, an intense stillness spreading through the air. Lin activated his spiritual eyes and saw that everyone was meditating, their bodies surrounded by concentrated aura. He promised himself that he would try to do the same next time, though in that moment, his focus drifted elsewhere. In the following class, their teacher appeared not as a tree, but as a sword radiating its own powerful aura. Once again, the students entered deep meditation, but Lin failed to connect, frustration gnawing at him. He wondered why he alone couldn't do it and vowed to succeed in the next lesson. But fate, as always, had its own plans. When the next class began, the teacher announced Lin as the class representative and, to his shock, handed each student a phone. She told them to enjoy themselves with it until class was over. While the others explored the device with excitement, Lin sat in confusion. Why are we even doing this? The teacher revealed that this was their game's spread, a test of sorts, and told him not to complain. But Lin's heart sank. He hadn't come here to play games, he wanted to learn. Tears welled in his eyes, and before long, the poor boy cried himself to sleep. When he woke, it was Telena gently shaking him. She told him their magic class was about to start. Just then, the disciple who had challenged Lin before appeared again, demanding a fight. This time, Lin agreed, stepping forward to accept. But before he could, Lena intervened, unleashing a burst of fire magic at the challenger. He deflected her flames with ease, yet Lena refused to stop. She attacked again and again, forcing him back, while he effortlessly handled her strikes with one hand. Determined, Lena soared into the air, cloaking herself in blazing fire and diving at him with all her strength. He countered by activating a protective barrier, smirking at her efforts. The system's voice rang in Lin's mind, urging him to use his spiritual eyes. Doing so, he saw it, the barrier's weakest point. Meanwhile, Lena continued to fight fiercely, but the enemy was preparing his deadliest move. Before he could release it, Lena managed to crack the barrier with one more powerful strike. "Your cultivation is sloppy. You are far weaker than you think." With that, he unleashed a series of heavy blows, knocking Lena across the field. Just as he prepared to finish her, Lin appeared in front of her, raising his heavenly bait once more. The attack slammed into Lin's defense, but he held his ground, protecting Lina at the cost of his own strength.
An explosion shook the arena, so massive that everyone watching was certain Lin had been destroyed. But their shock deepened when the smoke cleared and he was still standing, battered but unharmed. Raising his spiritual eyes, Lin gathered his energy and hurled a devastating blast at his opponent. The enemy, however, dodged with ease and lashed out chains that coiled tightly around Lin. With a vicious strike, the chains unleashed a brutal attack, nearly overwhelming him. Gritting his teeth, Lin endured the pain and somehow managed to counter, forcing his attacker back. The crowd gasped when they noticed the enemy's protective barrier had cracked wide open. His attacks were losing their strength, while Lin had recovered enough to prepare for another strike. The onlookers were stunned. How could someone progress this much in a single day? Meanwhile, the system whispered in Lin's mind, giving him his next quest. He would need to consume spirit stones to grow stronger. Defeated, the challenger admitted his loss. Impressed, he told Lin, "You truly belong in Class 1. But before the battle could continue, the teacher received an urgent message. Something serious was happening elsewhere in the academy, and she dismissed the class at once. Only then did the students learn the opponent's name, Ching. Ching approached Lin and Lana afterward, smiling. "You both carry incredible potential. I'll help you however I can." Lin suddenly remembered the system's instruction about spirit stones, so he asked Ching if he had any. Lana's face turned red with embarrassment as she explained that in this world, spirit stones weren't just resources, they were currency itself. Lin's cheeks flushed with shame when he realized he had essentially asked for money. Laughing softly, Ching handed him a ring worth 5,000 goldstones, a fortune in itself. From that moment on, the two of them grew close, forming a bond of friendship. Soon after, a girl named Sue approached, cheerful and curious. "You both seem like good people. Can we be friends?" she asked. Lin smiled warmly. "Of course, you can reach out to me anytime." Meanwhile, Lana's expression darkened, her eyes betraying a flicker of jealousy at the scene. Elsewhere, far from the academy, the old god who had first given Lin his system sat in the heavens, conversing with the teacher. "So, for the upcoming Battle of Freedom, which student do you intend to choose?" he asked. Without hesitation, the teacher answered, "I have high hopes for Lin." Back in the system space, Lin received a shocking revelation. To participate in the Battle of Freedom, he would have to rank among the top 50 students in the entire academy. If he succeeded, the reward would be a private weapon of his own. But if he failed, the system warned him that he would be transformed into a girl for an entire year. That night, Lin dreamed of a dark, mirror-filled place. He stood before the glass, yet his reflection was missing. Instead, staring back at him was his female counterpart. The reflection smirked, laughing as she said, "Lin, I am you." A strange warmth coursed through him, and for the first time he felt what it was like to exist in a woman's body. When he awoke, sweat clung to his skin. "It was just a dream," he muttered, though it had felt too real. What kind of dreams are these? I've never had anything like that before. Shaking his head, he swore to himself, "No matter what, I have to reach the top 50. Turning back to his system, he asked, If I consume 130 spirit stones, I'll reach level 7, right? The system replied, yes, that is the requirement to advance. Determined, Lin absorbed every spirit stone he had, pushing his cultivation to new heights. Power surged through his body as he advanced to level 7, his physique strengthening far beyond what it had been before. And then Lin looked ahead. Lin quickly realized his punches had become much faster, fast enough that he might actually have a chance at breaking into the top 50. Still, doubts gnawed at him. Curious, he asked the system more about the so-called Battle of Freedom. The system's voice echoed. The Battle of Freedom is a massive tournament on a grand scale. Over 500 students will participate. Then came the real blow. Your current rank out of those 500 is 29,633. Lin froze. His jaw dropped, panic shooting through his veins. 29,000? With only a month left to prepare, his mind spiraled into chaos. In his frustration, he even blurted out to his friends, "If I turn into a girl, will you still be my friend?" His friends exchanged worried looks, whispering that Lin had completely lost his mind. That was enough to convince him he had no time to waste. He had to level up fast. When he asked the system about his next requirement, it gave an almost impossible task. To advance, you must defeat a level 9 opponent. If you succeed, you will gain a god-tier skill, and your ranking will drop to 4,633. But if you fail... Lin swallowed hard. He knew full well he couldn't beat someone at level 9 yet. At first, he considered asking Lana to throw a fight against him, but when he approached her nervously, she casually mentioned she had already reached level 10. His cheeks burned with embarrassment at even thinking of asking her. Out of desperation, Lin turned to Qing. "You're level 9. Please, just lose to me." Qing smiled gently but shook his head. "Even if I agreed, it wouldn't be right. That's cheating. But if you really want to fight me, I could tell you my weakness." Lin clenched his fists and refused. "No, if I can't win on my own, it means nothing." Dejected, Lin went back to Lana again, dropping to his knees this time. She looked at him, surprised, her heart racing. Is he about to confess his feelings to me? She thought, a shy smile forming. Instead, Lin simply begged for her help in training. Lana, still flustered, agreed. Later, Qing decided to support him anyway, teaching Lin a special binding technique. "Use this against Lana tomorrow," he advised. The next day, during their spar, Lin activated the binding technique, chaining Lana in place. Just as he moved to strike her down, he noticed tears welling up in her eyes. His hands trembled, hesitation creeping in. In that split second, his foot slipped on a rock, and his palm accidentally landed squarely on Lana's chest. Her face burned crimson. Furious, she slapped him with the object she was holding and stormed off. "You pervert!" she shouted, leaving Lin dazed and humiliated. That evening, Lin confessed everything to Qing, devastated. "I ruined it all." Later, as he studied notes Lana had given him, he read about a student named Wang, the Academy's current #1. She had even written that if anything happened to him, she would come to protect him. Along with the notes, Lana had given Lin an essence stone. "Eat this," she had said. "It might awaken a god-tier skill." Excited, Lin consumed it, but almost immediately his stomach twisted in agony. The system calmly explained, "Side effect detected. You will have diarrhea for 13 days." Lin nearly collapsed. The Battle of Freedom was only 10 days away. He wouldn't even recover in time. The next day, too weak to attend class, he stayed home, clutching his stomach while the rest of the academy whispered that Lin must be too scared to face the tournament. When Qing came to check on him, Lin was still stuck in the toilet. Seeing his friend's misery, Qing sighed and cast a spell not to cure him, but to accelerate the process. The torment would be intense, but at least it would end sooner. Lin struggled at first, but after a few days, his stomach finally settled. Just in time, too, because the Battle of Freedom was about to begin. Everyone gathered at the starting grounds, buzzing with excitement. Lana stood among them, frowning slightly. "Why hasn't Lin spoken to me at all?" she thought. Little did she know, Lin's diarrhea still hadn't fully ended. Then a white dog appeared. It was an observer assigned to watch over Lin. Moments later, the old god himself arrived, his voice echoing across the arena.
The battle will begin soon. Your hard work will decide your rank. I've placed a golden protective barrier on each of you. You won't be harmed, but if your barrier shatters, you're disqualified." With a wave of his hand, he teleported them all to the battlefield. The battle erupted instantly. Ching charged in, cutting down opponents with ease. Lin, meanwhile, defeated one opponent only to ask with a straight face, "Do you have toilet paper?" When the man said no, he just walked away silently. Soon after, disciples began asking where Lin had gone, but one rival gave them the wrong direction, completely misleading them. Meanwhile, Llama scanned the battlefield with sharp eyes. She had already figured out where Lin was, but she was still annoyed at his distant behavior. Lin himself was finally recovering, his body regaining strength. Just then, 4 enemies surrounded him, declaring, "We all hate Lin, let's finish him together." But Lin calmly replied, "It'd be more fun if only one of you fought me. Why don't you decide who gets the honor?" The 4 instantly began fighting each other, arguing over who would take him down. By then, Lin's condition had improved completely, and with it, he unlocked a new god-tier skill. The system explained, this skill specializes in counterattacks. Moments later, Lin activated it against the 4, sending them flying sky-high with devastating force. The technique was so overpowered that it instantly eliminated them. Because he had just defeated multiple level 9 students, his second quest was complete. His rank jumped upward and the system warned him, "If you don't keep upgrading quickly, you'll never reach the top 50. Your next task, defeat 10 level 9 cultivators and master earth martial arts at Blackrock Peak. Be warned, the peak floats in the sky." Lin groaned. "How am I supposed to reach something in the sky?" That's when a man named Lu approached him. Lu led him to a hidden cave where the weakest, non-fighting students were hiding. "We know you're a good person, Lin. Please eliminate us gently. That way we won't suffer." Lin happily agreed. It boosted his ranking again, dropping him to 7,864. Just then, the system's voice warned, "A powerful cultivator is approaching." Before Lin could react, the man lunged at him, but was suddenly eliminated himself by someone even stronger. Out stepped a striking woman. "My name is Queen. In the last battle, I placed second." She smiled mischievously at Lin. "Fight me, you'd lose too quickly. So instead, let's play a game. I'll ask you 20 questions. You have 10 minutes to answer them all." Lin sighed in relief and quickly agreed. Fighting was out of the question. This, at least, he could handle. The questions came rapid fire. Then Queen smirked and asked the one that made him sweat. "Between Lana and Sue, who's prettier?" Without hesitation, Lin blurted, "Sue." Queen gasped, glaring at him. "Traitor! Isn't Lana your girlfriend?" Lin frantically waved his hands. No, nothing like that. In fact, she thinks I'm a pervert because I accidentally grabbed her chest once." Queen blinked, scanning his aura. To her surprise, he wasn't lying. The 10 minutes had already passed, but she leaned closer with a sly grin. "Then let me ask you just one more question." Queen gave Lin 2 options. First, live as a happy pile of dung. Second, become an immortal but live completely alone. Lin thought for a moment, then answered firmly, "I want to be someone who helps mortals rise and keeps cultivators truly happy." That answer made Queen's eyes shine. She grinned. "From today, you're joining my party." But instantly, the system's voice warned him, "If you join her party, you'll never reach the top 50. Lin jolted. He still needed to reach Blackrock Peak. Then suddenly, an idea lit up in his head. Without hesitation, he jumped straight onto Queen's broom. "I know a perfect place where we can play," he said slyly. Meanwhile, Lana was approached by the white dog. She asked softly, "Why isn't Lin talking to me?" The dog wagged his tail. "Because Lin has had diarrhea for days." Lana's expression softened immediately. "So that's why. He wasn't ignoring me after all." Back on the broom, Queen and Lin soared through skies until they reached Blackrock Peak. As they landed, the system whispered, "Absorbing the peak's earth power will take at least 24 hours. Suddenly, a mysterious cultivator appeared before them. Queen demanded, "Who are you?" The man introduced himself calmly, "I've been waiting for Lin." But when Lin tried to question him, the stranger vanished in an instant. Lin blinked. "What the?"
I've never seen him before. Maybe I'm hallucinating. In truth, before leaving, the stranger had erased both of their memories. High above, two teachers were watching. One murmured, "I have great hopes for Lin. This year, 7 students were recommended by the true gods, and somehow every one of them is connected to him." The scene shifted. Lana was suddenly attacked by a young man, the very same one who had been searching for Lin earlier. His name was Wei, another of the god-recommended students. Lana shouted, "Why are you trying to kill Lin?" Wei's eyes burned with hatred. "All mortals are my enemies. Stay out of this or I'll kill you too." The white dog lunged at Wei, but was countered instantly. Lana attacked next, but her strikes were deflected just as easily. She gritted her teeth. "We can't fight him now. We need to retreat." Meanwhile, Lin and Queen were just sitting at the peak, playing games together. Lin actually won a round, which made Queen furious. She hacked the system to ensure she'd win every match afterward. "Huh, I could start a gaming company in the mortal world. I'd make a killing." They both burst out laughing. The system chimed in. Absorption complete in 5 minutes. Because Lin's mood had been so positive, the process had accelerated drastically. By sunrise, the two of them sat together watching the glowing horizon. Queen's expression softened. "You're my first real friend. Before you, everyone I met only used me. Lin, am I really nothing more than a tool?" Lin shook his head. "If people around you make you feel like that, you should leave them behind." Queen hesitated. "If my teacher heard me say that, I'd be expelled from my class." "Then forget that class," Lin replied boldly. "If they don't respect you, they don't deserve you. Worst case, they throw you out. So what? You and I can make our own class." Queen blinked in surprise. "Wait, what did you just say?" Lin grinned. "I said you and I could start our own class." Her cheeks turned pink. "If only you meant that seriously." "I am serious," Lin insisted. Queen narrowed her eyes. "I can read auras. I always know when someone's lying. And ever since we came to this mountain, your aura has been very dishonest." Lin panicked. "Please, trust me. I'm telling the truth." The system quickly explained. "She's misreading your aura. You've been unconsciously absorbing earth magic here, which distorts your aura. I'll suppress it temporarily." The distortion faded. Lin exhaled. "See, that strange aura you felt? It was just my training." Queen frowned. "Training? Don't lie to me. You've been sitting here playing games the whole time. So tell me, what kind of training happens while you're just sitting around?" The system chimed. "Absorption complete. You can tell her the truth now." Lin swallowed hard. "All right. I only came here with your help. I finished my task, and honestly, I was planning to slip away afterward." Queen froze. Then slowly she stepped back. Her eyes turned cold. "So you're just like the others, using me, then throwing me away." "No, that's not it, Queen. Please, just listen to me," she shouted desperately. Her voice trembled with hurt. "So from the very first day, you've been lying to me. And here I thought, never mind. Thank you, Lin. At least last night you played games with me. I was genuinely happy for once. But in the end, you're the same as everyone else." "Wait, just give me a chance to explain," Lin begged. But Queen's aura exploded, and she prepared her deadliest attack. The system instantly activated, prepared to strike back with earth magic. "No!" Lin panicked. "Please believe me, Queen. I'm telling the truth." For heartbeat, Queen hesitated, lowering her blade, but the system failed to stop Lin's counterattack. A burst of earth magic shot out, slamming toward her. At the last possible second, Queen summoned her sword. With a sharp clang, she deflected the blow, dust exploding around them. When the air cleared, her blade was pressed against Lin's throat. Her eyes burned with betrayal. "You attacked me." "It wasn't on purpose," Lin pleaded. "Forgive me. I swear I didn't mean it." She used her aura reading ability, scanning his heart. The truth resonated. He wasn't lying. But her trust had already been cracked.
Frustrated, Lin finally revealed everything: the war god system, his secret quests, his skills. Queen's face darkened. You should have told me this at the start. Do you have any idea how much chaos this caused? To calm her, Lin even showed her the glowing essence orb that had given him a god-level skill. But he warned, careful, eating this causes serious diarrhea. Queen didn't believe him, and by mistake swallowed it. Within seconds, she clutched her stomach, groaning in pain. Ugh, you weren't joking? The system's voice rang out. Transfer your earth energy into her body. That's the only cure. So Lin placed his hand gently on her stomach, channeling his energy into her. Slowly, the pain faded, and her breathing steadied. She opened her eyes, still pale, but softer. Lin, however, tried to sneak away silently afterward. Wait, Queen stopped him. She removed a delicate hairband from her hair and held it out. Take this. If you wear it, no high cultivator will be able to harm you. Lin accepted it silently, tied it on, and leapt away into the horizon. The system's voice echoed. Battle of Freedom ends in 46 hours. Your rank is still far too low. If you don't push now, you'll never make top 50. Lin clenched his fists. 46 hours? That's enough. I still have a chance. But suddenly, a violent strike crashed down on him. From the shadows, a figure emerged. It was Wong, the Academy's strongest discipline. He smirked coldly. Accept my challenge, Lin. Fight me. Lin's tracker beeped. His eyes widened. Lana is in serious danger. Without hesitation, Lin slipped into stealth and sprinted toward Lana's location. Meanwhile, several disciples had managed to trap the white dog. Lana rushed in to protect it, attacking fiercely, but Wei came from behind and forced her back. Their battle raged for some time, exchanging powerful strikes, but ultimately Lana was defeated. Wei sneered. Just sit there and watch. See how I kill Lin. Lana smirked despite her defeat. I think Lin is stronger than you. That's why you want to kill him. Wei's eyes blazed with rage, ready to strike her down, but suddenly Lin arrived. In a flash, he eliminated numerous enemies and covered his friends with a shield of earth magic. The strongest cultivator, enraged by Lin's arrival, unleashed a massive thunder attack, obliterating multiple combatants at once. At that moment, the mysterious figure who had disappeared earlier appeared. Finally, the time has come, he said. Queen's hairband had protected Lin and his friends from the thunder attack, but now it was shattered. The system informed Lin, only 132 participants remain in the academy. Lin clenched his fists. He needed to eliminate enemies quickly to grow stronger. Suddenly, several 9th-level cultivators appeared, thinking, who is this? He's just an 8th-level cultivator. Can he really challenge us? The battle began. Lin defeated them all with ease, making them panic. They realized he wasn't easy to beat. Now Lin turned his attention to Wei. Lana shouted, "This is the guy who has been after you all along. Don't hold back. Send him flying to another planet." Lin grinned. Good thing you told me. With a god-level punch, Lin struck Wei so powerfully that he was literally sent to another planet. Finally, Lin completed his quest and ascended to a 9th-level cultivator. He immediately apologized to Lana, explaining it had all been a misunderstanding. Above them, the strongest cultivator was watching, calling out, "Lin, fight me quickly!" And that's where we'll end today's episode. The next part will be released after we reach 150 comments, because I've been extremely busy, which is why there haven't been many videos on the channel lately. For now, check out one of the 2 videos on your screen. The next part will be coming very soon. Subscribe.